NBA title in 8 seasons last night. But that does not mean they're done in Golden State, because Golden State got the best odds to win it all next year, according to Fox Bet Sportsbook. Followed by the Nets. Why are we doing this again? Followed by the Nets, Marcellus Wiley. You must have put that in there.
I ain't
the
like
Boston Celtics, who were tied.
Best sportsbook wrote that.
So bringing in a champion in his own right, NBA analyst Slick Rick the Bucher. But Sel, is this the beginning of another Warriors dynasty?
According to Heller and Coven, it's just continuing the old one. What, 4 championships, 6 finals appearances in 8 years? Those, some Patriot dynasty numbers there, if not better. Yeah, they're going to continue to roll. Here's the problem, though. It's not about Golden State and where they are right now. It's about what the contenders, especially in the Western Conference, are going to have to rise to do. And what they're going to be able to do in the Western Conference is get healthy. Many teams are sitting there saying, hey, we're going to hit the hard reset button in terms of our health, and then we'll be in contention. Tell me how these Clippers going to look with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George healthy next year. Tell me how the Nuggets will look if you get Murray back along with Porter Jr. Tell me what a healthy AD looks like with LeBron James. You know they win 70% of their games, and they just won a championship a couple of years ago. Tell me what the Suns going to look like with the league's best record. I got to figure out Chris Paul, manage those minutes, but still, that team is going to be right there. And then a healthy Grizzlies team, remember they were doing something in the series against the Golden State Warriors. Then Ja Morant went down, and obviously their hopes went down with it. It's not about the Warriors and how they're going to always be available for contention. It's about the other teams who are now going to raise their hand healthy and say, we're here as well.
So much of this depends on how you define dynasty, obviously.
Fair.
Are they going to make another 5 consecutive trips to the NBA Finals and win 3 times getting there? No, I do not expect that. Could they make another couple trips to the finals after this one and at least win 1 more? Yes, I would fully expect that. And Marcellus, your point is valid in terms of all of the other competition and what they're going to have to go through. And make no mistake, they're not going to come back whole as the Warriors. That just doesn't happen to championship teams. There are teams that are going to pick off a Kevon Looney, an Otto Porter Jr., maybe a Gary Payton. They're not going to have everybody back. So they're going to have to rework it once again. But all that said, the value of having won a championship, having all these young guns experience what it takes, what it reaps, and what it requires is incalculable, and nobody else in the league has that. That's why I felt like for them to move forward, if they didn't win this championship, this might be pretty much over. But now they've got a new generation of Warriors players who understand what it takes from day one to get it done. And there isn't anybody who has that. So depending on how you define dynasty, if it's replicating what they did in the previous iteration, I would say no, that's a bridge too far. But if it's a matter of can they win 2 of the next 3, yes, I think that's very doable for these Warriors.
Slick, the Warriors, I think, are going to be, again, a new dynasty because they're retooled and they're repooled. Jordan Poole, baby. Jordan Poole, I think, eventually is going to ascend into the role of Klay Thompson as that second wingman scorer. Now, Jordan Poole's not the defender that Klay Thompson was, obviously. But they're retooled and they're repooled. But, Slick, because of how much homework you do on this show, you make me better. Marcellus, they make me better. Y'all really make me study. Here is the reason the Warriors are going to begin a new dynasty. Because it didn't take them that much to win this one, so I don't think it'll take them that much to win the next one. What in the world do I mean? The Warriors only had 1 player score 40 points, and it was only 1 time this playoffs. Think about Luka, who basically had to score 40 points if the Mavericks dared have a chance. He scored 40 points 3 times. Jimmy Butler, 4 times. Giannis, 3 times. DeRozan, Ja Morant, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, each scoring 40 points. But the Warriors, in a route to a championship, only needed 1 40-point game from Steph Curry 1 time to win a chip. It was easy to do Thus, it will be easy to duplicate. I'm not saying winning a championship is easy to do, but you're not asking for a lot. If all the Warriors needed to do to win a championship was get one 40-point game from Steph Curry, he can do that again, and thus the Warriors can duplicate this again. For context, the Nets need 40-point games from Kevin Durant or Kyrie Irving to win. They got none, and they didn't get out the first round. The Mavericks need a 40-point game from Luka to win. They got several, and thus they made it far, but eventually Luka runs out of gas. Giannis must score 40 at some point in time for the Bucks to have a chance. But eventually he too ran out of gas. But the Warriors, they only needed one, just one 40-point game over the course of their 16 wins to win a championship. That's all it took. Because it's easy to do, it's easy to duplicate. And as a result, I do think the Warriors are beginning another dynasty.
I like that point. A strong point right there. I think some of it borrows from their style of play and ball movement and player movement. And obviously, as you said, repooling allows them to have second, third options that other teams just couldn't trust. Think of Luka, and you're like, who else are you going to trust night in and night out? I love that. So they didn't have to do a lot, but they sure spent a lot. Oh, let's talk about how much money they're going to spend to keep this team together and still lose players, as Slick Rick just mentioned. $48 million, go Steph Curry, get yours. $41 million, go ahead, Clay, get yours. $33 million, go ahead, Wiggins, get yours. $26 million, go ahead, Draymond, get yours. And nobody else gonna get anything. Uh-oh, so who else is gonna be on this team? We got rookie deals, we got Jordan Poole on a rookie deal, we get it. But at the same time, Kevin Looney, Gary Payton II, all these other players, Otto Porter Jr., who had his splash moments in his finals as well, these guys are going to be seeking money that won't be in Golden State. So in terms of retooling this team, I don't see how you can do it. They can run it back with the same guys who have that championship DNA. But trust me, adding to this conversation and adding to this team's roster, it's going to be a difficult task.
Yes, so Celis, that was the perfect counter to what Acho said, because Acho, I agree with you. It was once again strength in numbers. That's how they got this done. But that's why the question of how many of these pieces they can retain is going to be vital to whether they can continue this success. No. Because you can't argue, Gary Payton, he had an effect. He did make a contribution. Otto Porter Jr. started the last couple of games. He was instrumental. Kevon Looney was instrumental. It was the fact that they had all these different contributing pieces that allowed this team to succeed in spite of Steph only having one 40-plus point game. Now, the reason that I still believe that they're capable of replacing those pieces, even if they lose some of them, is because of Steph Curry, because of the uniqueness of Steph Curry. We've talked about, well, we got Jesus Shuttleworth. That was Ray Allen. And people have referred to Michael Jordan as Black Jesus. But honestly, if we're going to look at the way Steph Curry operates, the way he carries himself, the way he infuses other people with faith and belief, that's the Black Jesus we're looking at right there in the way he approaches the game. And that is ultimately his secret power, is that he brings guys together and he allows them to shine. He has all the power, he has all the force, and yet he is going to allow others to be able to speak on his behalf. Testify. And I know you are laughing, Marcellus, but you are a man of faith. You can't tell me that in the real, when we think about what Jesus represented, that Steph Curry represents all of that and more, as opposed to the Old Testament where we had the vindictive strike you down. That's what I think of when I think of Michael Jordan, okay? I'm gonna smoke you. That's what I think of when I think of Michael Jordan. When I think of Steph Curry, it's let me gather my flock and shall we all eat.
Yes, that's real.
Steph, Slick, the only note that I'll add, and I think this was the most mind-boggling one, and I've just been relayed it. In the last 25 years, you want to talk about the teams that have won championships while only having one 35-point game. Last 25 years, teams that have won championships while only having one 35-point game in the postseason. The 14 Spurs, the 7 Spurs, the 99 Spurs, and you want to talk about those 04 Pistons. So the Spurs, you know that same Spurs team with Tim Duncan to win championships over 3 decades? 99, 07, 14,